The wind howled through the abandoned lighthouse, a mournful cry that echoed in my ears. My footsteps echoed throughout the decaying structure as I climbed the creaking spiral staircase, seeking refuge from the storm that raged outside. The rain pelted against the broken windows, and flashes of lightning briefly illuminated the bleak landscape below. I had always been fascinated by lighthouses, their solitary existence, and the stories of the brave souls who had manned them. This particular lighthouse, however, stood apart from the rest. Locals whispered tales of a haunting presence that clung to it, but curiosity got the better of me. Reaching the top, I peered out from the cracked lens. The vast expanse of the sea seemed endless, with no sign of life or civilization. My heart raced as I pondered the stories, questioning my sanity for coming here alone. A sudden chill settled in the air, far beyond the bite of the storm. It was a presence that seemed to creep through the walls and crawl under my skin. My mind played tricks on me. I heard faint whispers in the wind, beckoning me closer to the edge of the railing. As I looked down, the waves below churned violently, an eerie green glow emanating from the depths. I had heard of ghostly lights known as corpse candles in local folklore, but this was something else entirely. The light below seemed to call to me, tempting me to take one step closer. Shaking off the strange sensation, I turned away, only to find a figure standing behind me. A tall, gaunt man with hollow eyes stared at me, his face contorted in anguish. Panic surged through me and I stumbled backward, unable to comprehend what I was witnessing. "Who are you?" I managed to stammer, my voice quivering. No response came from the apparition, but its presence was suffocating. I fled down the staircase, desperate to escape the lighthouse and its malevolent inhabitant. As I reached the ground floor, I hesitated for a moment, my curiosity warring with my fear. The rain had ceased momentarily, but the darkness outside was palpable. The lighthouse loomed overhead, a sinister sentinel that seemed to call out to me, daring me to return. Days passed, and the haunting encounter at the lighthouse haunted my every thought. Unable to shake the feeling that I had left something unfinished, I returned, determined to confront whatever malevolence lay within those walls. This time the storm was relentless, an unrelenting tempest that mirrored the turmoil within me. The lighthouse groaned under the force of the gale, as if it too was a tortured soul trapped in a perpetual nightmare. As I climbed the staircase once more, the air grew heavy with dread. My heart pounded, and I could hear my breaths echoing in the emptiness around me. At the top, the green glow below had intensified, and the figure now stood closer to the edge, its skeletal hand outstretched towards the eerie light. "Who are you?" I repeated, my voice trembling with a mix of fear and anger. "What do you want?" The figure turned towards me and I gasped in recognition. It was a reflection of myself, my face contorted with the pain of regret and sorrow. It was as if the lighthouse held a mirror to my very soul, forcing me to confront the darkest corners of my being. "You are not welcome here," the spectral version of myself whispered, its voice like a soft, cold breeze. "This place is a beacon of suffering, a reflection of the torment within." I staggered back, unable to comprehend the meaning behind those words. The lighthouse seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, resonating with my emotions. My past mistakes and regrets flooded my mind, a torrent of guilt that threatened to drown me. In a desperate attempt to escape, I turned and ran down the stairs. But the lighthouse was relentless in its pursuit of my soul. The apparition followed me, always a step behind, tormenting me with memories and emotions that I had suppressed for so long. As I reached the ground floor, the storm outside had intensified once more, thrashing against the lighthouse with an almost vengeful fury. I stumbled outside, the rain and wind battering against my body, mirroring the turmoil within. With each step I took, the ground seemed to give way beneath me, and I felt myself sinking into an unseen abyss. Panic consumed me as the darkness closed in, and I realized that the lighthouse was not just haunted, it was a manifestation of my own haunted soul. In that moment of realization, I understood the true horror of the lighthouse. It was not a malevolent spirit or a cursed place. It was a reflection of the darkness within me. It had drawn me in, not to harm me, but to force me to confront my past, to face the demons that I had buried deep inside. As I sank into the darkness, I screamed, releasing the anguish that had held me captive for so long. The storm raged on, but the lighthouse stood tall, its beacon now shining brightly, not to warn passing ships, but to guide lost souls like me towards redemption. And so the desolate lighthouse remains, a beacon of suffering and a reminder that sometimes the scariest horrors are not external, but the ones we carry within ourselves.